Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. Thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. You're listening to the sports coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We up in this thing, the Sports Coma. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the guys. Appreciate you and the gals, man, of the Coma. Much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being in the live, man. I'm on the road, so y'all check my sound, man. If I come through loud and clear, give me a A-OK. The last broadcast, a lot of the family members watching, but they're saying, Q, I had to turn it up to the max. Shout out to you guys, man, for being in the stream. I'm trying to figure, that situation out. And I think I might have it worked out. So y'all just give me a A-OK in the chat and let me know how I sound. Give me a sound check to make sure the family members are hearing me loud and clear. I don't want to make sure I lose it. And besides, a little programming note as well, fam, that that I've already remixed the last show we did. The show, the Saints and Cowboys practice show with all the breakdown in it. I've already edited and improved the sound, and it'll be up tonight for the family members. So for those who's messaging me saying, AQ, love the show, bro. You can barely hear it. I said, okay, yeah, I got you, fam. So that'll be up later on tonight for their listening pleasure. So I appreciate you guys for being in the stream. All right, thank you, brother Greg. Trap Star, what's happening, fam? Appreciate you. Thank you as well for being here in the stream. Much love. Shout out to my dog Scoob. What it do, pimping? Shout out to Scoob for being in the building. Brother Slim, big ups to you as well. What's up, Barbara? Shout out to Barbara. The Queen's in the building. Much love. Appreciate y'all. What's up, brother JT? Much love, fam. Appreciate y'all. Fam, this is some interesting time. What's up, Quavadia? Shout out to you, brother. His own teammate heard him. Yeah. What's interesting, man, dealing with what we dealing with the Who Dat Nation, man, is quite obvious. A lot of injuries, man. A lot of injuries with the Saints going on. So I had to do a little research and figure out, hey, man, when the last time this happened? And I'll give y'all that breakdown in just a moment as we go over the news and notes. As you see, I got my over the cap stream up, or screen, showing the family members how much money the Saints got. And because a lot of this, the Saints are going to give an opportunity. We heard that Kendre Miller and Devin Neal, their health status is positive. As reported on, I think it was Tuesday, according to reports. I didn't know that got past me. I guess what it was, all other news and stuff was going on, but they talking about the return of some of these folks. So it's very interesting, man, to say the least. And we're going to take a look at some of the options and some of the history behind this health situation, nonsense, the madness that's going on with the black and gold, man. We have to be able to some kind of way get beyond it and around it, man. and sound the alarms from a health perspective when you have this many injuries that occur before you even get to real football. My goodness, this is soft tissue injuries, a lot of soft tissue injuries. Remember, we hadn't got hit by these soft tissue injuries in a long time, so we don't want to we don't want to assume the posture of a defensive posture. When we see these many injuries mounting, what we want to do is get on the offensive. So it's time for Ted Rath and others, the trainers that we brought in with Kellen Moore last year, to kind of step to this thing, man, and put a state of emergency around this health situation, extra stretching, whatever you got to do to kind of keep this stuff from getting any bigger than what it actually is. Can I get an amen from the fam? Big ups to brother Ross. What's up, bro? What's up, Divine Eternity? Shout out to you. He says every year, Q, don't make this something new. Yeah, I know. It's every year we have it, but it's different though. This is different than every year. This year, you having these guys getting hurt. Bryan Bresee got hurt, ACL tear on a non-contact drill. You know where they do that at? Yes, you do have injuries, but you don't have injuries where soft tissue, fam. I want to pinpoint that. We ain't talking about broken bones and all that. We talking about soft tissue. And like I said, we can't always assume the posture as a team and say, "Oh well, we just got to deal with it." No, we can be a little proactive in our approach. Like I said, the trainers could emphasize more, importance on stretching, more importance on hydrating, because a lot of this, some of these injuries could be caused by a lot of different things. Doctors will tell you that if you look up what causes soft. You know what? We'll do it now. Let Dr. Q take you through some of this stuff that's going on. Hold on, let me put it here. Let me look. I'll spread the word. I'll show you. Hold on here, just a second. Let me dig up something right quick. Hold on, hold tight. All right. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. All right, hold on, fam. Because this is what makes us a little different here. We get in the news, but at the same time, we want to figure out, how. Hold on, there's stuff that we can do here because the doctors tell you that all the time. Yeah, and like I said, man, hold on, I'm gonna break it down to you. Hold on, let Dr. Q take you on through the situation, baby. Y'all hit the like button, man. Shout out to you for being in the stream on that. Scoop says, Q, I thought we revamped the training with the additions of Ted Rath. Yeah, I seen it. That's right, Barbara. Shout out to Barbara. Barbara called and she said O-line injuries in 2024. She know. Why, yo, what's up? He says, but we have depth, so I'm not. No, it's not a case of being worried, right? It's not a case of being worried. It's not that at all. But it's a case for me. It's a case about being prepared. Like if your team having a bunch of soft tissue injuries, then the onus needs to be on preventing soft tissue injuries. So let me just do this. I'm gonna show y'all here. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys, so y'all, and I'm gonna read this with you guys so y'all can see what I'm seeing here. Okay, so it's about, now I Googled how to prevent soft tissue injuries, and I put the connotation about being a football team and playing during the heat, right? So this is what it gave me back, and a lot of this is sourced. It'll tell you that it's sourced from the medical journals. You got the Prolance Orthopedic Association that's telling you that. It's basically showing you some of these sites that's connected to health sites that are actually reputable. Here's another one from Johns Hopkins Medicine. I'm just giving you guys the game on some of the sources. So here is some of it, and we get right to the news. Now, this is what it says. Number one, hyper-targeted hydration in electric-like protocols. Dehydration reduces the blood flow to working muscles and impairs muscle function, causing premature fatigue and severe cramping. And this is what it's talking about here when they talk about prioritizing aggressive hydration, strict heat acclimation, And science-driven load management is how the Saints protect players from hamstring, calf, groin strains during brutal summer training camps. High heat and humidity lead to faster muscle fatigue, which is the primary catalyst for soft tissue tears. The Saints have completely overhauled the summer routine and collaborating with the health partners like Oshner Health and bringing in sports performance director Ted Rath to kind of did it. He did a wonderful job last year, but now he got his last year's last year, this year's this year. So number one, it talks about hyper targeted hydration electrolyte protocols, which is what it sounds like, pre-practice benchmarks. Players drink 16 to 24 ounces of fluid 2 hours before hitting the field, followed by an additional 7 to 10 ounces immediately before practice starts. Then they have the intra-practice replenishment. Athletes are pushed to consume 7 to 10 ounces of fluid every 10 to 20 minutes during drills. Custom electrolyte blends. Water alone is insufficient in Louisiana humidity. Training staff utilizes exact sodium, magnesium, and potassium replacements formulas based on individual sweat rate testing. Post-practice weigh-in. Staff track fluid lost by weighing players before and after practice. Players must drink 16 to 24 ounces of fluid for every single pound of body weight lost on the field. Number two, gradual heat acclimation. What does that mean? The human body requires a baseline psychological transition phase to safely handle the intense exertion under a heavy uniform in peak summer heat. 10 to 14 day window. The team implements strict 1 to 2 week progressive exposure schedule. Initial practices are shorter. This is what happened during the summer times and some of the practices leading into the OTAs. They have what they call equipment ramp ups, uniform trap, compensate heat against the sun. The Saints against the skin. The Saints transition progressively from helmets only to light shells and finally into full pads. That's why we do what they do. They talk about the wet bulb globe temperature monitoring. Staff continuously read local environmental strain. When induces spikes, the team alters schedules to utilize early mornings or tactical walkthroughs instead of heavy conditioning, which is what you see the Saints using. You see the Saints early in the morning. They're getting up early in the morning, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and getting these practices. And y'all usually notice around 11 to 12 o'clock. Usually then there'll be a presser. So the Saints are getting up early in the morning to beat the heat. The only problem is the heat say as soon as they walk out, hey y'all, how y'all doing? We've been waiting for y'all. That's what the heat been doing, right? As soon as they come out, people's like, hey man, listen, man. Hey, yeah, we gonna beat the heat. And then they get out there and the heat say, hey man, what's happening, man? We've been waiting for y'all all morning. What y'all doing? So I mean, yeah. So we got some heat in Louisiana, man, especially down here, man. And number three, modern load management, science-driven warm-ups. And I don't want to get too deep off into it, enforce recovery windows and all this likes. But what I'm basically is giving the game on some of the stuff that Ted Rat and the Saints staff are doing. Some of these things need to be ratcheted up a degree or two, right? Now, you can talk to athletes about hydration. You can talk to them about stretching, by being hydrated, working in the heat, and stretching is a big part of preventing these muscle tears. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I had to take it to the medical book on y'all right quick. All right, so shout out to the family. I'm sorry I had to take it that, but that was a subject. On the Coma, man, y'all gonna get that real deal. Y'all gonna get education on on what we need to do. Cause we about coming up with the answers. So we want to understand these things understand how we getting hit with so many of these different type of injuries. We know that Alvin, we'll cover that in a minute. We know that Alvin Kamara is going to be out for a month with his issue. Let me see if I can get his stuff on screen. He's going to be out a month for his issue. We just, a day or so ago, we just found out that we lost the wide receiver for 2 months. So it's one of these situations where you just want to make sure you try to do all that you can do to kind of stop things from occurring as much as you possibly can. If you guys know what I mean, you want to get ahead of it. All right. Shout out to you, OG. What's happening, my boy? Shout out to OG being in the building. He said I had a feeling he was gonna go live. Yes, sir. What's up, Dakari? Shout out to you, my man. Good to see you in the chat as well. Big ups to y'all, man. That the heat is one thing. Who that for life? What's up, fam? Appreciate you, man. Who that for life? Chris King Chosen One. Good to see y'all in the chat, man. Much love. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Notorious BIG says so. Our number one wide receiver and our number one running back will be out for the first 4 games. No, sir. Your number two, your number 2 wide receiver will be out, and your number 2 running back will be out for the first, maybe not 4 games. I mean, well, Jordyn Tyson won't be out, according to some of what we're hearing, not until the Giants matchup. I think that's week 6, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all correct me in the chat on the schedule. And you're only losing Alvin for a month, which means he probably will be back sometimes, maybe in the second or third week, maybe somewhere around there, maybe the third week. So we'll just have to, but no. That's the you're not losing number 1. Number 1, according to the depth chart, is Chris Olave, and number 1, according to the running back depth chart, is Travis Etienne Jr. So you are losing your number 2 of running back, your number 2 and wide receiver. So that's the good news. You're not losing your ones, but the bad news is you're losing the 2 for a short period of time. So yeah, that's just what we doing, man. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Notorious. We out there putting the belt on the Cowboys. Yeah, Cowboy Nation. We let the Saints come in here and teach us something. Nah, bro, we just, yeah. But see, that was the thing, man. You seen Chris Olave cooking them. Tyler Shuck was slinging that ball, man. I gotta give. He was and they had some pressure in his face. Those defensive linemen for the Cowboys are pretty good, man. I gotta give it to them. That was a point of emphasis for the Cowboys. They wanted to get that defensive line together. They got some really good guys. Donovan Ezeraku is a talented young defensive end. They got some guys on there, and the Saints were able to do what they could do, against those guys. Shuck was able to fire off, get passes to Chris Olave. I like how he completed the passes, where he placed the passes, and against young Caleb Downs. And Caleb Downs got cooked, and then a couple of times he gave Chris Olave show some love. But outside of the skirmishes, if you could watch I was able to see some of the photos that they take, and you can see a lot of respect was given. Chris Olave hugging and dapping off. You seen Carl Pickens and those guys there hugging the Saints players and this sort of thing. So it was a lot of love too that we didn't see because of the skirmish, and a lot of respect. It's just that physical nature took over. So it is simply is what it is. What's up, Marley Mall? Shout out to Marley Mall. Big ups to y'all. Appreciate y'all as well. Big ups to you. Who that for life? Chris says Q play Nuck if you buck for the Cowgirls. Okay. What's up, T Mama? Shout. I don't even got that on. I hated that song, bro. You gonna lie, dog? I hated that song. I don't know what it is, what it was about. I just didn't like it, man. I just didn't like it, man. I like lyrics in my stuff. I just thought it was I just didn't like the song, bro. A lot of people like it. I just didn't like it. All right. Shout out. What's up, T Mama? Shout out to T Mama. Appreciate her being in the stream as well. Big ups to all y'all, man, for being in the live, man. Let me go over this article right here, fam, and then we'll kind of go through it, man. That AK-41, as you guys know, that's the latest news, that Kamara will be out at least 1 month with that MCL sprain. And this is Kat Terrell from ESPN. She covered it, and she basically, kind of built the article based on what Adam Schefter, one of the networks or the NFL's top insider, came out with the story that Alvin Kamara will be sidelined for at least, next month due to a sprained MCL, not a tear, but a sprained one, which he just barely, according to multiple reports, avoided having a tear or a more serious injury. So, and that's the thing, and that's, I don't want the Hoodats to get what's the term, perturbed. I don't want y'all to get perturbed or disturbed about some of this stuff, because the thing is, you have guys that are having these pulls, but they're not tears. We had Cam Jordan, we had Devin Neal, we have Jordyn Tyson. All these guys have these strains, but they're not tears. Now, we did have a couple of guys that did have some tears, and Dillon, Radunz, and Bryan Bresee. But we are winning there versus the opposite, right? So some of our top guys, Cam Jordan, all those guys are dealing with, hammies and all these muscle pulls, not tears. That's a big difference. Tears mean you done for the year. You can't help us this year. But that is the positive side of it. That's why I kind of led into it with the information about hydration and not only just drinking the fluids and operating in heat under the summer heat, fixing that, you know, you're operating in heat. No, you're operating in the summer heat. That people have to be able to hydrate themselves as well as stretch because with that, like I just read, you guys know that those muscles kind of tense, and if dehydration sets in, they cramp, and sometimes that can lead to more serious injuries. So understanding some of it, it allows us to be able to prepare and do a better job at hydration and put more of an onus for the players to be able to say, hey man, listen, we got to do a better and more cohesive job in understanding and taking this seriously, because this is real. This heat ain't nothing to play with. This heat to get you on up out of here. So anyway, this is the stuff, some of the stuff that Cat talked about in there. That Kamara was injured during Tuesday's joint practice with the Cowboys in Oxnard. He took a handoff and ended up in a pile of bodies with his leg appearing to get caught under another player. I wonder who that was. Kamara limped off after the play and did not return. Saints cornerback Quincy Riley also sustained a groin injury during the same practice, and Coach Kellen Moore expects him to be out for a few weeks. So you have AK-41 out for a month, Quincy Riley out for a few weeks. Now, a few weeks, if that means a few means two, then two means he should be available by week number 1, right? By week number 1, when we get ready to travel to Detroit, right? He should be good to go, right? So sometimes it might be 2, might be an extra week for precautionary measures. That's why it's good for guys like Jordyn Price and Emerson Jr., those guys to step up and show what they can do. Dallas Beanham, the Styles kid, having to make a name for himself, and all of the young cornerbacks. And perhaps the Saints will eventually look at bringing some of these guys in. You never can tell, man, what the Saints going to do. Anyway, man, this is pretty much what it is right here. Shout out to you, Greg. Much love, brother Ross. Yes, Scoop says, yeah, that old pickle juice, huh? Regiment for them cramps. Yeah, I don't know if he doing that, but that would whatever they got to do to get it right. All right. So anyway, Kamara out for 1+ month right here. We'll see how that all works, fam, going forward. Sprained MCL expected to miss week 1 versus the Detroit Lions. Who handles the load for the Saints running back option? Travis Etienne, who will be available, 4-year free agent, is the absolute number 1. He's got all the money, so he's got that. If Alvin can't go for week 1 against him, Kendre Miller cleared his back injury. He was back. He's cleared. And I told y'all that was a part of the thing that he should be. You should hear something about Kendre Miller and Devin Neal coming up next week, which is here now. And I knew that because it's a reason why they're holding on to him. If he couldn't make it back within that timeline, then there's no need to hold on to him. They would eventually just release him and find somebody else. So Kendre Miller coming back from the back, Devin Neal coming back from the hamstring injury will help the New Orleans Saints running back room, because we was getting real thin there. So Ty Chandler and CJ Donaldson is also there as well to absorb some of those preseason games as well. And then, of course, we know about Audric Estime. We can't talk about Audric Estime. He was another guy, one of our running backs that will be out for some time. We don't have anything on Audric right now, fam. But listen, Audric Estime, I'm fearing that this could possibly be this could be tough on us. I think that Audric Estime situation, fam, might be an issue. It could be a problem. I'm not gonna tell you a lie. I'm kind of nervous about the Audric thing, because I think he was clearly one of our top running backs there. And man, I'm just because the thing is, I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, man, listen, I got a third string. I got a guy that climbed from the bottom of the chart up to the 3rd spot. He was outperforming all these other guys because they weren't healthy. Neal wasn't there. Devin Neal wasn't there. Kendre Miller's never there. CJ Donaldson is a undrafted rookie trying to figure out things. And Ty Chandler just got here this off season too, trying to figure things out. But Audric Estime carried them from a running back's perspective late in the year when guys got hurt, when Alvin got hurt. He carried the Saints late in the year, and then that momentum carried over into this year, and then he was able to pick up and keep that momentum going. And then when was able to stabilize himself in that third running back position. Now that I'm fearing that, he might be out for multiple weeks as well. That puts us in a precarious situation to find out, who steps in for Audric. Now, who's the third running back? The third running back's a very important position, isn't it? It's very important. What's up, Jason? Shout out to Jason, man. We have to some kind of way figure that out, man. So that's one of these things that people aren't talking about, that I'm really looking at, and I'm saying to myself, good gracious, I don't, I'm kind of, I'm sorry, hold on, fam. Hold on here, fam. Hold on. Yeah, I'm kind of fearing that too, fam. So I don't know, man. We'll have to monitor and maintain and watch it, man. But at the same time, we'll see, fam. I don't know how that goes. But going back to that graphic, that's something that we really need to kind of watch out for, because AK-41 misses some time, a month, maybe that first week. I think we'll be fine. But I'm more worried about the third spot, the other position they're not talking about, which is the Audric Estime injury. I think that one will be a lot more, that will be even more impactful to our running back room, because I don't have any faith in Kendre Miller. Devin, Neal working from that hammy, still trying to find that out. Ty Chandler had a wonderful special teams, not much on the running back running game. Maybe we'll see that. And CJ Donaldson had 4 carries and couldn't pick up a yard. So that's not good if you're a north-south power back and can't pick up a yard. He was flat in the backfield. It's interesting, man. All right, anyway, and to keep it moving, man, and to kind of build on it, man, this is the Saints injury report, fam, as it stands right here. Throughout camp, the health check, the 10 players to monitor, major long-term absences. Alvin Kamara, and it says a month, 4 to 6 weeks. Could be, they say a month, so that's what? Out for a month is 4 weeks, Could at the latest. Some people, being positive or, thinking it might just be that Detroit game. Jordyn Tyson, out for a couple of months. He had a severe hamstring strain there. He won't be available for a while from us. Bryan Bresee has a torn ACL. He's done for the year. Dillon Radunz, our top swing offensive lineman, he's done for the year. And then, of course, we had Nick Saldiveri, who the Saints basically, this guy never was, you want to talk about Kendre Miller. This guy here, a 4th-round selection the Saints used on Nick Saldiveri. The guy, I don't know how he got drafted. The guy never seen the field in all his time here, and I think he kind of retired or whatever happened. So the Saints just shelved him for the year. And I think I think this is his last year on contract anyway. So then, of course, we are monitoring these active things. The Audric Estime ankle situation, multi-week, this type of situation, we don't know. But hopefully it's better than what I anticipated. I think he might be out for at least 2 to 4 weeks, maybe more, longer. We'll see. Christen Miller's dealing with a shoulder issue. He's still able to play. He was day-to-day, so that's positive. Mason Tipton, who's a speedster wide receiver with good hands and decent route running, has a tibia issue, and he's still on the PUP list, so they're physically unable to perform list. Quincy Riley picked up the groin stuff. We talked about that. Saints still evaluating that. They mentioned a couple of weeks. So that might be he'll be back. We'll see. And Ronnie Bell had a heat-related situation. He caught on some heat in California. So I'm like, hold on. That's strange, because Ronnie Bell been down here in New Orleans, and he had that. I know California ain't working with nothing we carrying up here. You can't tell me that California stuff where they were at Oxnard was that was hotter than what we have down here. He went to Cali and caught that. Good grief. And of course, we talked about the cleared the Kendre Miller, Devin Neal situation is good in John Ridgeway. So for what we give up, we get back, and such is the cycle of life, I imagine. All right. So anyway, this is what as we kind of move forward, look at the Saints salary cap situation, fam. Let me kind of get that on screen for the fam so y'all can see that here full screen. and see what the Saints are working with salary cap wise. Over $12 million in cap the black and gold currently working with. And it presents an interesting a situation, because you ask yourself, okay, if the Saints have this kind of revenue or money rather to spend, why don't we kind of see if we can find some people to kind of help us, out in free agency? Can we find an unrestricted free agent at some of these positions to do it? Now, of course, we know the Saints got a couple of their guys back from the running back room, so there's no need to bring any runners in, you would think, but some of these guys are available. And this is over the cap right here, showing you some of the available 2026 running back: Najee Harris, Austin Eckler, these guys, Raheem Mostert, Alexander Madison, Miles Sanders, Khalil Herbert. Is some of these guys worth bringing in for a look-see if you're the Saints? We have two guys, running backs, coming back from injury. Why, we'll see how they look at it. And of course, we then kind of look at the wide receiver position, because as we know, the Saints did have an issue with our wideouts now. A couple of guys are hurt, so they did try out Chase Claypool and Josh Reynolds the other day, And of course, like you see, Claypool, 6'4", 230 plus pounds, a former second round pick by the Steelers, played with multiple teams. He's a guy, as you can see, a scouting report on screen here, fam, showing you that he got a rare size, good red zone threat, vertical threat, physical blocker. His concern is consistency. At times exhibit attitude problems. Can you kind of work through that? Had a long layoff. Dude currently playing in the CFL, with that type of talent. And I mentioned it on the other show the other night, is that you got Chase Claypool and the CFL and Cedric Wilson Jr. playing for the Detroit Lions. How that work? But most of the teams see him as an X wide receiver, a big X, and perhaps a special teams guy. Now, Josh Reynolds is a guy that can do it all. He's a solid veteran that is a solid route runner, very solid hands. Doesn't have the great acceleration speed at this stage of his development. Has good quickness, just not explosive as you like. Not really a yak man. He catches the ball, gets dragged down pretty easy. He don't get yak like you want him to do. But 6'3", almost 200 pounds, of former fourth round pick, over 240 something odd catches, over 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns through his career right now. Scouting reports, reliable route runner, chain mover, big catch radius, both of them big catch radius, veteran IQ, very what's the word I'm looking for? Not slippery, but cunning. He got vet cunningness. Limited yak explosiveness, yak and explosive ability, and his best fit, they see him as a Z or a wide receiver 3 to come in and help steady your wide receiver room. So you could use a good vet to come in and kind of help the Saints. Now, the Saints are not had reported to have signed any of these people as of yet. They just was looking at them. But also, if you look at the free agency, according to Over the Cap, is showing you multiple wide receivers that the Saints could possibly look at, and you can see them on your screen, whether it's Noah Brown, and we knew about the Josh Reynolds thing, obviously. Zay Jones, who else we got? Tyler Lockett, I don't know about all that, but it's a couple other guys. Remember we looked at Gabe Davis back in a while ago, but these are some of what they're saying are unrestricted free agents that are currently available. If you're looking for a veteran, a guy with some speed, or a skill rather, to kind of come in and kind of help steady your room, and to kind of help you keep going on and moving on until you get some of your guys back. But the Saints having $12 million wouldn't be a bad idea for them to check out a vet, to kind of bring in the team. And I see that whether it's Chase Poole or Reynolds, wouldn't be a bad pickup to kind of introduce to the team with all the mounting injuries that's occurring with the ball team. So that's obviously something that they need to investigate. Like I said, there's no reports right now currently that the Saints have signed anybody as of yet. But what they are doing, it appears that what they're doing is the Saints are using this as a situation here to allow depth to make a name for itself on the team. So that is what they're doing. They think that's the best way. Wide receiver room is being tested, and it simply is what it is. So, we take a look at what they're talking about and we move it forward. So this is the Saints roster as it currently stands, and you take a look at the running back room Like I said, Ty Chandler, Donaldson, those guys, Audric Estime, I'm fearing he will be losing some time. A-Chain is fine. Elvin's out for a month. Kendre and Miller Dillon with a back. Neal with a hammy. Those guys are reportedly coming back. So we'll see how the room looks with two of those guys returning. We'll see how the room builds and look going forward. It'll be interesting to see if the Saints can, these players in particular, can build on that momentum with guys out. Can they step up and step in? Because that's what it's supposed to be. If guys go, have an injury or kind of step back for a minute, we need other guys to step up and step in and handle business, right? So other wide receivers outside of the guys that we talked about, with Jordyn Tyson out for a couple of months, Mason Tipton still on the pup list. You still have Kevin Austin Jr., Ronnie Bell, Bryce Lance, Bryan Brown, Bub Means, Jalen Marino Cropper, Trey Palmer, and the suplexer himself, Brock Reichsteiner. But you won't have Brock Reichsteiner he won't have him, to be honest with you. You won't have Rashi. You won't have Reichsteiner for the first 6 games of the year. So he can't help you. Now he can practice. He can play in some of these preseason games. He can suplex a cowboy or 2 or 3 for you. He can even body slam a guy. He can eye gouge. He can throw you off the rope and catch you with one of them swinging arms. He can clothesline the cowboy or 2 or 3. But he can't play for you the first 6 games of the regular season because of the suspension that he's currently having to deal with because of the reports of PED usage. So that's something to consider too moving forward. We'll see how it all works. YO says, how is Tyree Wilson doing, Q? He in training camp last week prior to them going to Dallas, you heard him flash on a few plays. There was actually some good performances by him, but since then, kind of up and I ain't gonna say up and down, but he's learning a system. But they, a couple of practices, not a couple, but last week's practices prior to their trip to the West Coast, there was some practices where Tyree Wilson had some positive stuff going on for him that I heard about. So yeah, he's doing all right. As far as that, but still, there's still work that needs to be done. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Donations. Gifts. More gifts.
All right, shout out to the fam. All right, Slim says Ruiz can't even block air. Ruiz actually, you notice that a lot of the reports is not really going at Cesar Ruiz over the last, say, 7 days. I mentioned this in the previous report, fam, that a lot of people was asking me, Q, how's Ruiz doing? And I tell them, well, I haven't heard anything negative about Cesar Ruiz. I know he's still working on improving his game and doing better, but I haven't really heard anything negative about Ruiz. Like the time when he got manhandled in that practice, 2-3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. Haven't heard too much of that anymore. So that's not saying he might be doing better. We just haven't heard from him. Could be the fact that he hadn't done anything overly negative for people to draw attention to. Because, and listen, this is another thing too, fam. And I said this before. The way Chase Young is running these practices, right? Not these practices, but the preseason. You're not going to get an opportunity to see Cesar Ruiz like you would see him in a traditional preseason game, right? You know what I mean? Because what Kellen Moore is doing, Kellen Moore is utilizing these scrimmages to get work in. Like this was an incredibly physical scrimmage with the Cowboys, right? In these scrimmages, they're not allowed to tackle. Now, you might see some physical stuff where the cornerback is swiping at the ball and he knocks the wide receiver down, or they going for it and they knock each other down, that sort of stuff. But it's forbidden for you to tackle their players. And the reason why the coaches is doing that is because they believe that's the best way for some of the ones to get work without actually physically being tackled. Even though you see defensive linemen going at the offensive linemen trying to get through them and all this kind of stuff, and they pushing at each other and all this, that's allowed. But the tackling, all this, they believe that minimizes the injury risk, while it allows the ones to practice against other ones from other teams to get good work in, to get scheme and all this kind of stuff, or whatever they're trying to do. Very interesting. But the ones, if this continues, and I do think it will happen in this second preseason game against the Los Angeles Rams, that you will not see those ones. You'll see what you seen last week, which is the 2 start. So you won't have the opportunity to grade Cesar Ruiz in an exhibition game. You won't see him with the cameras on him. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of these practices and these scrimmages, they don't have, they got reporters on the side with their cameras and all that, but you don't have an elevated look, set up where you can evaluate who's doing what and you get what I'm saying? You got somebody catching the ball on the sideline, so the camera is at field level, so the view is not as good, if you know what I mean. If you usually in the stands and you can get an overall view from the top down, you can see everything like an all 22 look or something similar to it, whereas an elevated camera where you can span the entire field and see everything that's going on clearly. That's not happening. So when you see that, you see some stuff, but you're missing a lot because of the field view. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times you're limited on, relying on, whatever people can catch and what they don't catch and all this kind of stuff. So it's not like you got an overall expansive look at everything and you can grade accordingly. So you might not have the opportunity to grade Cesar Ruiz right away, until maybe one rep. I mean, at some point, because there is no scrimmages in week 3. I mean, in week 3 of preseason. So does he let his ones run in? You get what I'm saying? So you got the scrimmage against the Jaguars. You got the scrimmage that happened against the Cowboys. Tomorrow you got the scrimmage against the Rams. So at some point you're gonna have to two physical scrimmages in the same week mean no starters in this exhibition game on Saturday. That's what it means. They're not gonna have two physical scrimmages and then allow their team to play the ones. He won't do that. So that's why I said the way he's doing it is very interesting. You get to see the 2s, but you like trying to evaluate your ones. Like, what our ones really look like. We don't have an opportunity to really take a good gander at them because of the way how Kellen's handling is. So we have to be just basically going by what our coach believes, and he thinking that these guys can actually, or they're performing. All right, thank you. Appreciate 10 jewels. Appreciate it, man. Much love.
Donations. 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 Gifts. 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 More gifts. More gifts.
Yeah, it's interesting, bro, because the way I see it is, thanks for that, Jess Leo. Much love, man. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, but see, the thing is, I haven't heard it. I haven't heard him. People are saying this type of thing. I haven't heard it. I haven't heard people since earlier in the training camp mention Cesar Ruiz. Since when he had this situation where he got muffed down, we haven't heard anything from Cesar. And see, the reason why you ain't hearing it, and listen, it's not because he might not be, I don't think he's doing nothing incredibly bad where he needs to be reported on. That and the fact that I think that, like I told you, you're not seeing, like you've seen a lot of the film from this scrimmage. I've seen a bunch of film, different angles from its stuff right here. But did anybody that's seen that Cowboys Saints scrimmage film see Cesar Ruiz do anything wrong? Put it in the chat. I bet you say no. You know why? Because it was so cluttered. You can see certain guys here. You can see certain guys there. but you're not seeing him do anything wrong. And if he was doing anything wrong, you don't think them reporters report on it? Hell yeah, they would. Because a lot of reporters are not people. They know what time it is for Cesar Ruiz. It's not just the Who Dat Nation. It's a lot of reporters write articles based on that. So if he was doing something wrong, they would definitely report on it. Just Leo said he did. Y'all saying that that he said something different? No, no, bro. I'm not saying that. Tell me what Ruiz did. If y'all, I think y'all bantering back and forth towards you. I'm looking at people saying something about. I don't know if y'all talking about y'all guys bantering back and forth about something. I don't know what y'all talking about. If it's a questioner to me. All right, let me see. I don't know what y'all talking about. Quavadius is talking. She said, "You talking about fights? I'm talking about making plays on the field." I don't know if you talking to me. I don't know who y'all talking about, bro. I don't know. Y'all, if y'all got questions, y'all might be saying it to each other. I'm not reading what y'all saying. Just direct it to me. If y'all got a question, make it simple. Just Leo says, featured heavy physicality and multiple scuffles with Wilson frequently in the middle of the action, ticking off the Cowboys. Now, I did hear them pushing around, and that's what I was saying about the Cowboy film, that the one or two, pushing and shoving, that's one thing. But it got to the point where, it got in the way. It just got sloppy, and it got in the way of some real good work that could have been done. So I don't know, man. Corvada says, "Q, I'm talking about this dude in the chat." That's why I knew I was y'all talking to each other. That's why I knew it. I'm like, man, y'all talking to each other. What's up, Duke? Shout out to you, bro. I feel you, bro. Y'all talking to each other. That's fine, man. All right, let's see. Dravis, what's up, Dravis? I like always, Saints make you sad. But nah, Dravis, man, they're not making you sad, bro. The Saints is they're fine. I'm telling you. Right now, man, we got a few people, whether it's Cam or AK-41. Alvin's gonna miss the first game against the Detroit Lions. Jordyn Tyson gonna be out for a couple of months. I'm cool with that, and I'll tell you why I'm cool with that. I'm cool with him missing a couple months because that means that I give you a couple months and you give me the rest of the year. I'm cool with the trade-off. Plus, if he's hurt early, you'll have him to middle to late, which I'm good with that, because you already seen enough to know, hey, man, this kid could play. Y'all, right? Y'all seen enough to know that Jordyn Tyson could play, so ain't no need for me to be like, oh, we need Jordyn Tyson. It'll be nice to have him, but the Saints could sign a veteran, or they could simply, sign a veteran, add them into this room, or see what guys they currently have on the team in the wide receiver area, which they're very thick at, and see if any of these guys can make an impression in the room. That's why the room was deep anyway. I think Kellen Moore understood that. That's why he loaded that wide receiver room up. And he could always add a veteran that got over $12 million. The Saints could bring in a veteran to do what they got to do. Student asking, how about Kamara? He's out for a month, according to reports, bro. All right, shout out to you. All right. Yeah, it's okay, fam. All right. Yeah, it's interesting, man. All right, Slim said that boy Charlie Smith missed that field goal. Yeah, he kicked it wide right. And it was a 54-yarder. We're like, okay, it's a 54-yarder. We know he's gonna, it's a 50+. But see, Charlie Smith is so good at kicking the 50-yarders. He done elevated our understanding. Like, hey man, you supposed to make that, even though it's a 50-yarder. It's a 50-yard field goal. Like, today's 50s is yesterday's 40s. You know what I mean? Because when you used to kicking 50-yard field goals and hitting them like this, and he got a big leg. In practices, they said he'd be kicking beyond 55 yards and hitting them in practice. So, you got a guy in Tanner Brown, and like I tell you, Tanner Brown ain't messing around. Tanner Brown wants that job. And Charlie Smith better get it together. He still got a few practices to get on with it. All right, Jess Leo says Zach Wilson is doing his best. Dude, bus, yes, sometimes take longer catch on. Look at Ruiz play. Bro, okay, so What's interesting is about the Zach Wilson, because we gonna get to Zach Wilson. What's up, L Dub? Yeah, I know they said 4 weeks today. Yeah, a month. He'll be out for a month. So they anticipating him missing the Detroit game. He might miss week 2. That's why the Saints have these backs in. But at some point, we got some time, right? Like there's still some stuff, and there's still some answers. Like number one, we lost Dillon Radunz. That was your best swing offensive lineman. That needs to be answered. Who's the next top reserve you have? Were any of you guys impressed? Let me kind of get y'all minds on this for a second. Dillon Radunz got hurt for the Saints. ACL, he done for the year. He was your best swing offensive lineman, meaning the best guy to come off the bench from an offensive line standpoint. Who's your best guy now? Did you like how Akeem Richards played? Did you like how Will Sherman played? Did you like how Torrey Simpkins played? Did you like how Barry Wesley played? Did you like how Jay Wright? Jay Wright. Yeah, man, let me tell you something. Jay Wright, man, he about balling. Jay Wright about eating ice cream. Jay Wright about driving Corvettes. Jay Wright likes to, Jay Wright, the guy that refers to himself in the third person. Do you like any of these guys as a veteran, reliable, reserve offensive lineman? That's something that needs to be explored. Your best third running back, Audric Estime, is going to be, I think he's going to miss some time. That injury, the guy hit him on his knee at a funny area, and it kind of did something with his ankle. He might be out for a little bit. So are you good with Devin Neal? Are you good with Kendre Miller? Are you good with Ty Chandler? Are you good with C.J. Donaldson with Alvin out for a month or, for a month or so? This stuff has to happen because now we reaching into going up to these players that have to step up. Now with AK out, you gotta put pressure on guys underneath. With Audric Estime hurt, so it's not just AK, it's Audric too. So your number 2 and 3, because he was 3, the third back. Audric was leading the charge for the third running back spot. Both 2 and 3 are out for running backs. So you got Ty Chandler, you got C.J. Donaldson, you got all these other guys, Kendre and Devin Neal. All these guys good for you? 2 of them coming off injuries. 1 of them undrafted rookie, and 1 just got to the team. A lot of uncertainty there. The wide receiver position might be in better shape. You're missing Jordyn Tyson and this sort of thing, but there are guys that they drafted that are available that could help. The Saints could get a veteran to come in, like, we talked about Chase Claypool or Reynolds or whatever. They could come in, or they can just pivot and start using other formations. They can add more of the tight end in there because the tight end room ain't nothing wrong with the tight ends. The tight end's still showing up, stepping out. But every other group outside of the quarterbacks and the tight ends are now getting hit with injuries. So they got to figure out a way to kind of answer some of these questions offensively speaking. You get what I'm saying, fam? They got to answer some of these questions. That's what I'm talking about offensively. So there's still some time. There's still some time between now and when games matter that we need to be looking out for, right? All right. Big ups. All right. Anyway. Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see. So yeah, the competition, just talk about the competition between Spencer Rattler and Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson won week number 1, week number 2 coming up soon. I expect a more aggressive Spencer Rattler in number 2. I expect a more aggressive Spencer Rattler in preseason week number 2 in that competition, because Zach Wilson put him on notice. Say, man, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for the spot. Just like Tanner told Charlie Smith, he coming for the spot. So this is what competition's all about. Duke says, huge opportunity for all the running backs to step up. Yeah, yes, indeed. That's the whole point, bro. It's like, man, these guys have to step up and show up right now, man. Let me get these guys on screen, man, because this is some of it right here. But you can see the runners right here from Ty Chandler on down. These guys have a supreme opportunity. AK gone for a month. Somebody can have reps at the number 2 running back position. Audric is out probably for more than a couple of weeks with that ankle. Hell, it might be 3 to 4 weeks too with that ankle. We'll see. But guys like Ty Chandler, C.J. Donaldson, Devin, Neal, Kendre Miller, they coming back. Those guys have to step up and make something happen, man. They got to. All the Saints will have to do what they do and hit the block. They'll have to hit the block and find out what they can do. So it's a matter of time. And not to mention, don't forget that Cam Jordan is also a player that's out with a hamstring too. And a lot of people are not anticipating Cam. Well, they expecting him to be ready, maybe ready for the first game of the regular season, because Cam's hammy happened prior to Drew Brees going to Canton. Remember that practice prior to him going to Canton. So Cam has been chilling and getting rehab longer than anybody with that hamstring issue. So Cam should be ready for the regular season. We'll see. He's older. I don't know how he's not really talking about it like that. But at the end of the day, a lot of expectation is that Cam Jordan should be ready for week number 1. We'll see as we draw closer. As we draw closer, we shall find out what's going on. That's right, T-Mama. Those ankle injuries are tricky. That's why I was like, yeah, Audric Estime is going to miss a few. He's going to be out for a while, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, maybe more. That's a tough one, man, losing Audric like that. I don't know, man. The Saints really playing that thing close. They really playing it close. They playing it real close, man, with these running backs. I would just be honest with you. They playing that thing real close. All right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Just Lil says, yeah, Nixon's free agent. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see how this exhibition game go against preseason matchup. Week number 2 against the Rams go before the Saints decide on if they're going to bring in some more help. Next week, I thought this week would be a week where they do bring in some people, but they have not brought in anybody. They tried out a couple of wide receivers, but we haven't heard anything. So them say all these injuries at running back, Taysom Hill will be missed. Indeed, bro. Indeed. Yes, indeed, man. It's time, bro. It's time for us to see what they're working with. But, hey, man, listen. These injuries are very tricky. Now, just kind of go into it, man, because this is something that shout out to Barbara because she did mention the year. She knew it. I had to research and find out. I researched, found out, damn, it's a lot of soft tissue injuries. When is the last time the Saints had to deal with this elevated amount of injuries? And according to research, and I'm going to read this to you. The Saints are currently facing an incredible, frustrating rash of preseason injuries, drawing immediate parallels to the 2024 preseason. Just 2 years ago, the New Orleans Saints suffered an almost identical string of training camp and preseason ailments that ultimately foreshadowed an offense decimated by injuries during the regular season. I'm not bringing this to you and saying this is going to be a repeat, but this is just the history of what happened that kind of brings it back. So the current 26 preseason has seen vital pieces of the team go down with, in rapid succession. You've seen Jordyn Tyson go down. You've seen Alvin, a day or 2 later. So Alvin sidelined with a sprained MCL. He expected to miss a month, threatening his availability for week number 1. Jordyn Tyson, he's out for 2 months with a severe hamstring. It's a strain, not a tear or anything. Cam Jordan, the veteran defensive end, is battling hamstring injury that has clouded his status for the start of the regular season. Bryan, Bresee, and Dillon Radunz both suffered season-ending injuries early in the camp, severely damaging the team's depth. Now, the 2026 versus 2024 preseason timeline goes as thus. While the Saints are frequently plagued by injuries, the 2024 season stands out as an exact time their offenses were completely upended by medical issues. According to Adjusted Games Loss Analytics, the 2024 unit finished as the single most injury-impacted offense in the NFL, right? And then the preseason and early season impact went like this. The primary backfield injury in 2026, Alvin Kamara with the MCL sprain. In 2024, it was Kendre Miller and Alvin Kamara. They had various ailments. Then we had the pass catching depth hits. Jordyn Tyson out for 2 months. In 2024, it was Chris Olave with concussion and soft tissue injuries. In 2026, the offensive line interior losses. Dillon Radunz season-ending injury. In 2024, it was Eric McCoy with the groin and elbow issues. The defensive front had problems. Bryan, Bresee, and Cam with hamstring, and Bryan with the ACL. And then in 2024, they had multiple interior depth attrition across that line that had all kind of issues. So that's just something I wanted to kind of share with you. When the last time something like that occurred with the New Orleans Saints. So we'll see how it all goes, man. And like I had pinpointed and talked about earlier in the broadcast, fam, about having an opportunity for the team to be able to, see what these soft tissue injuries and Ted Rath and the staff that Kellen Moore brung in snaps up. And I guarantee you they're going to put more, because he's a good trainer. He's going to put more of an emphasis on this stuff. Now, will they shorten the practices? Possibly. This is another thing to kind of talk about, fam, because either they're going to allow them the exposure to go outside will be reduced because of the heat, or they'll start just doing a lot of the practice work inside of an air condition control building. This is what it is. And the idea that Kellen Moore is doing is to move the team out of a heated area like New Orleans and take them out to a reserve or a vacation style climate. And Cali is like, okay, this is because that's what the Dallas Cowboys taking a team out of the Texas blast furnace, as they call it, and taking them out to California to Oxnard so they can practice in what could be considered vacation weather. This is why they're doing this sort of stuff, to see if they can get more out of them outside training. So the Saints are going to use that metric where they train in the heat. They got to be, and now that you see all these, I'm telling you, when the trainers see all this upticking, they're not just going to stand back and be like, yeah, well, we just have to. No, they're going to get real active. They're going to get real into it. They're going to make sure they're going to put more of an emphasis on that. They might shorten things a little bit. They might hold more inside practices. They're going to adjust. Good trainers will adjust and get this under control. So that's what I'm talking about. All right. Pammy said, wasn't not hot in 2024? It's hot. Yeah, it was hot every year. But like I said, the heat is one thing, but the heat affects teams differently. Last year's team probably was in the heat, but they probably dealt with it different. Remember, every team, every year is different. You might have some of the same people here, but every year is different. Yeah, it's hot. Every year is hot. Every year is hot, but every team is different. How you deal with it is different. How the trainers deal with it. It's never always the same thing when you're dealing with these teams. So these guys, they have to deal with it accordingly. Everybody got to be hydrated. Guys have to be stretching. You got to watch how long you got the guy. And I know this is just, it ain't exactly all football, but if you want to see football, this is what it is. You can't just be having them out there in the heat and all this kind of stuff. They might have to consider, like Kellen doing, going out to the West Coast, training out there in LA where the weather is more conducive to this sort of thing. And the Saints can feel like they can get more more work out there. So, running away from that Louisiana heat, I understand. I get it. I totally get it, man. I get the science. All right. Yeah, Pam says, no, Q, was it this hot consecutive days? Not like, okay, I got you. I don't know about that one. Pam, shout out to you. I don't know if it was that high consecutively in the city, but I know in terms of where the training facility is, I know in the overall area, we were hovering around 100 degrees. With the humidity, it put it up at 105. For my people in the city, in the area, they know what time it was. Like if you live in New Orleans, I don't know if you live in New Orleans, Pammy, but I live in the vicinity of the city, and I can tell you one time that the temperatures hover around the late 90s into the hundreds. The humidity kicks it up. Some days it's so hot it'd be like 105. They got heat warnings. I remember there was a heat this was crazy. They had a heat. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all remember. This happened like last week, I won't say. It had a heat advisory at night. I thought absence of light mean absence of heat. Put one in the chat if y'all remember that. If y'all from down here, they had a damn heat advisory at night. At night. How you get a heat advisory at night? The sun ain't around. How that work? But that's how hot it's been down here, man. That's how hot it been. They had some stuff going on. I was looking at the weather in Paris. Paris had some type of some kind of heat wave that was killing people. I'm like, damn, never been that hot before. Never been. Duke says yes, it's a West Coast idea for training. All right, Pammy says no. She in Shreveport. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Duke says, yeah, thank you, Pammy. Yeah, Duke says yes, indeed. One. Yeah, T Mama, did y'all? She said, yeah, the humidity on the West Coast haven't been like bad. Exactly. It's an ideal environment for them to go to the West Coast and train. Remember, this is nothing new about our coaches running to get away from the heat down here so they can train their team. Remember, Sean Payton used to do this. Sean Payton, before, he kind of softened up and he had the little thing going on with, before he, Sean Payton start tipping on out on his lady. Remember, they had started having that camp at the what was that out there in Florida? Was it in Florida? It was in Florida somewhere where Sean Payton was having them Saints camps, and it was like a resort out there. He was having the Saints training camp as a resort, and people were saying the reason he was doing that because his old lady, the woman he was tipping with, it wasn't his old lady. The lady he was tipping with was out there somewhere, but it was prior to that. He was doing it at Millsaps College, and Millsaps College was in the heat because Sean Payton said, "Nah, we're gonna get it out the mud." They ain't really running it like that no more. They had to change the game up because it's so damn hot. So, yeah, teams do this thing where they scrimmage and they go to the West Coast. The Cowboys are doing it. They go to Oxnard every year, and that's because they understand. For us to get to work, we have to retreat to an environment that's conducive for us to be able to handle up. You see what I'm saying? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Old Peyton was tipping. He was tipping. Y'all remember it was everybody knew. Everybody knew. Y'all remember it was at a golf resort or something like that. He was out like, what this dude doing? And our teams that year when he was doing that, they weren't as aggressive as the Millsaps College training camps. It's something about the heat. The heat, playing football in the heat. And that's what Kellen Moore is still trying to do. He's still trying to give them a taste of the heat going inside. Then shifting in the second preseason week to go to California, do their thing, right? And scrimmage with the Cowboys, right? And the Cowboys is out there. Their training camp is out there. The Cowboys don't want to train in Texas. It's hot in Texas. It's not a moist heat like where we are. It's a dry heat in Texas, but those guys don't want to practice in that crap either. So that's why they go to California in these places. And that's what we doing. That's what we doing. Oh yeah, he said, yeah, apparently I think he did. You might be right. I think he did because he had the problems. Because I remember old man Peyton. They used to live in Sanctuary on the North Shore, and right around that time, all that stuff, Peyton started tipping. They had to live because they went out there, I think, 2 years in a row to this little golf resort, and he might have did marry that lady. He might have did marry. You might think you're right, Pammy. He might have did. He might have did marry that lady. You never know. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, man. At the end of the day, that's what they do. They retreat. They get away from the heat, and getting the practices like he has, which surprised me. I was like, okay, you scrimmage with the Cowboys one day, and then because we don't play the Cowboys until next week. That's our preseason matchup. So I'm thinking, why you don't scrimmage them next week? Why are you trying to you kind of being, kind of aggressive with your scheduling if you got the Cowboys yesterday and then 2 days later you got the Rams scrimmage? That's aggressive. That's like a lot of, you sure you won't do that? You see what I'm saying? That's how I know none of the starters are going to play in the exhibition game. And then next week they come back to the heat of Louisiana. After the preseason game, they do the scrimmage in Tulane Stadium. I think it might be at nighttime or toward the evening somewhere where it's not that hot. And after that, they'll have the final game on a Friday against the Dallas Cowboys, and then that'll end up, game wise. And then the following few days will be about the business of whittling that 90-man roster down to 53, and then that's when you give Isaac get him his walking papers and Kendre Miller his walking papers, this sort of thing. Then again, with the injuries, you never know, they might stick around. Yeah, he was tipping. Sean Payton was tipping. He was tipping. Y'all know he was tipping. He was tipping. Pammy know it. She said she think he marry that lady. He was tipping. We all knew it, man. We all knew it. This small down here, everybody know what them. Sean Payton, you ain't slick. We probably don't know what he doing right now. Hope he ain't tipping up there in the mountains. Yeah. And hopefully he ain't tipping in the mountains, but you never know. But yeah, down here, everybody knew what he was doing. He was tipping on out. He was tipping. But nonetheless, man, that's what I got for y'all today. I appreciate y'all for chiming in the broadcast, man. If y'all got any questions, quickly throw them in there. I'd like to give a shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show, FanDuel, for all your betting needs. The 2026-27 NFC South winners, according to FanDuel, it's like fuss. Plus 200 Tampa, plus 240 for the Saints, plus 310 Falcons, plus 330 Carolina. Get your bets in at FanDuel, man. Make you some money at FanDuel Sportsbook, man, and bet responsibly. And by the way, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers read up with Vita Vea. I don't know if y'all knew that or not. And people saying, Q, we need to go ahead on out there and see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers want for Vita Vea. And I'm like, man, they're not trading Vita Vea. That Vita asked, to be traded. And they said, nah, we're not gonna trade you, brother. We're gonna come on, bring you back. And that's what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did. It was a very wise move to bring him back. So they just signed him to a 1-year agreement and brought Vita Vea back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he's not going nowhere. He's staying home in Tampa. So, we'll have to see Vita at least twice in the regular season this upcoming year. We're gonna have to stop him. We got to use Cesar Ruiz as a doorstop against Vita Vea. So trip him up and throw him into him. Like you see in some of the monster movies, the very uncool friend that pushes the other friend in front of the guy running at him to slow him up. We got to take Cesar Ruiz and push him at him as a doorstop, and maybe he'll trip him up. Maybe he'll fall down or something. I don't know. All right, Tim says, can Jeremiah Wright take the spot from Ruiz? No, not right now, bro. No, Jeremiah Wright not ready, bro. He's not ready yet. No, not at all, bro. So we will see. Yeah, T-Mama say, how old is she? She's under 30. I don't remember how old the girl was. You talking about the one old Tippin Payton was dealing with? I don't remember, but I think she was younger than the woman he was with, though. And he was definitely doing some tipping. He was tipping on out. But yeah, Tim, shout out to you, Tim. I don't see what's up, Bullet Family Travel Vlog. Much love, man. Yeah, I don't see it. Is Jeremiah Wright ready right now? You might next time we see Jeremiah Wright, we're gonna have to ask him to ask himself and see, is he ready to take the spot from Ruiz? And see what he said. Yeah, Jay Wright, man, Jay Wright feel like he need one more year. He might tell you, what I'm saying? We gotta make sure we ask him and ask him. You gotta ask him to ask himself, is he ready to step it up? I say no. Yeah, Jay Wright. Yeah, Jay Wright, man, he might be Jay Wright be ready next year. No, you're not ready, sir. You're not ready yet. Not ready yet. All right. Anyway, fam. With that being said, man, listen, I appreciate y'all. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Big Q representing the mighty Who Dat Nation. Much love to you guys. Shout out to FanDuel for being a sponsor of the show. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hype the stream, and share the stream on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you socialize. Take the coma with you, man. We in here representing real deal spill on a team that we love, man. And even though AK-41 will miss some time, man. He'll be out for a month. We got other running backs that have to step up. That's what they're getting paid for. Kendre Miller and Devin Neal reportedly are coming back from injuries. They need to step up, step in, and make a impression. Kendre Miller, it's your time, sir. You've been served an opportunity to prove who you are. You got 2 weeks to show up for the team. So I'll be interested in Kendre Miller in this matchup and these 2 preseason games. He needs to get a lot of work. So does Devin Neal, Ty Chandler, CJ Donaldson, because with Audric, Estime, and Alvin Kamara out, we need backs to step up and step out. You know, you understand? So anyway, with that being said, man, what's up, Chantel? Shout out to Chantel. Good to see you in the live, man. Appreciate you. With that being said, fam, I'm going to holler at y'all on the next one, man. I appreciate y'all. Much love, peace, and who that takes.
Who that say they gonna beat them say? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them say? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them say? Who that? Who that?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thewhodatdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thewhodatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation. Stay in the NO, you stay in the know.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.